got the knowledge in store. Oh yeah, Alan Land, watching top of the flare. Movie and TV show reviews that you need. Film threads on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film thread, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn the phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film thread, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal.
Welcome everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Thread on a Friday. Today on the show, F1, M3GAN 2.0, and other movies. Yes, we will talk about Trainwreck on Netflix. Plus your comments, questions, and Alan has a report from the Dances with Films Festival. Tons of news, Superman news, Star Wars news, all the news, and an interview with Sweet Relief director Nick Verdi. It's a big show today, and we're happy you're with us. So let's start the show. I'll explain what I'm doing here. All right, and I'll try to find Alan. That's the thing that's always really close to me. Trying to find Alan. And of course, I cannot find him here. Maybe someone can help.
Hello, Chris. How are you, sir? I noticed Tom Cruise and I have not done a call-out for Mr. Ng. Well, I'd be honored, and thank you for the invite. Here goes. Alan. Alan. Alan.
Well, there you go. Hey, what's going on, man? What are you doing?
Dog out.
Of course, you just got on camera, and now you're... What's going on?
Yes, but I let the dog out. But
You literally let the dog out.
I let the dog out, yeah. And then the dog will come back in, and then
Just
I'll let
like
it
the
out.
song. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Saves a dog by blowing him. He's holding up the big kaiju.
By what?
and blowing a dog.
Okay.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Blowing a dog.
It's a scene from Superman. It's in the international
Yeah,
trailer.
the Axel Braun Superman.
Superman is holding up the kaiju. Let me
Yes.
explain this. Okay. I knew someone would clip that. And he saves the dog by blowing him.
Yes.
Blowing a dog.
So there you go.
And the dog appreciated it. and appreciated being saved as well.
Yes. Okay. Well, let me explain. I am in the spare bedroom at my sister's house in Michigan. I'm visiting family, not for, I love visiting my family, but I'm here. My mother is sick. She's in the hospital, and the whole family's gathered here. So I accept thoughts and prayers and appreciate it. It's just it's a lot right now. So I'm just letting you know why I'm here, and doing the show is a welcome distraction from everything I'm having to deal with. So I'm happy to spend time with you. And when I say you, I mean the audience, not Alan. But
Gee, okay.
and Alan and Alan as well. So I just want to mention that. So, I was on Drinkers podcast yesterday at Open Bar, and I was here in this room. So just so you know, I should be back next week for Versus. We'll see. If not, I trust Alan will be able to handle it. So there you go. Yeah, but let's see who's here. Let's go to the comments.
All
and see
right.
who's here. Hey, someone.
From Lord Thothy. Where's the dog?
Blowing a dog.
That probably the last time that clip will ever be played.
Yeah, sure. Press M to start 90 for 5. Can I get a shout out for press M to start? Epic content to come when I do Comic-Con this year. Chris and Alan, can we rate Hot Chicks cosplay? Hot Chicks cosplay.
Yeah, we'll do that at con. I'm
Yeah.
happy to. That's one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah. And we'll be looking for that May or Osha or Riri cosplay. Bush and Rio Cat for 2. Chris, my best for your mom's speedy recovery.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Patrick Lemire, 9278. Buy the dog dinner first.
Yes, I'll need to do that.
All right. Kibbles and bits. That's what they say. Suns and Shadows cast. Chris Coffee Pool. I have Chris only starting with his first, wanting second more already. Number 2 more already.
Yeah, well, I'm on the second one, so we'll see how that goes. Hey,
okay.
wow. Andrew Cram, big supporter of the channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. For 50. Good to hear your takes, Chris and Alan.
Andrew, thank you.
Yeah, this will actually be a good weekend for movies, I believe.
I think it could be. And here we go. Right here. Last one. Here.
Lord Thothy, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, or Rumble and Instagram, buy our merch, shop.filmthreat.com, and thank God it's Film Threat.
And it's also Friday, but we have our collections here, the summer collection, the American AF collection. We're putting up these for a limited time. We have in the spirit of Spirit Halloween stores, we'll be putting up our Halloween merch in August. So you've only got the month of July to take advantage of these designs. So check them out. I'm probably going to get something. I mean, I have to at this point. I have to. But one last one came in here.
Mark Skywanker for 199 British pounds. Thoughts and best wishes after hearing that, Chris.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, okay, let's get to it. We have some news. We have some news to deal with here. So let me where's that? The computer oddly is slow because I'm on my laptop. So
and you're on your sister's internet.
And my sister's internet and laptop. So please be patient with me if I freeze up. You know, you've got my voice. But here we go. Okay. All right.
We deliver everything except good movie reviews. We leave that to Chris Gore and Alan Ain from the very popular Film Threat.
Yes.
Getting all these endorsements. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, we'll be getting James Bond from him soon. So
yeah. Hey, who doesn't love Sydney Sweeney? And who doesn't love sweets? Now, I don't know how this got in my feed, but somehow there's a new sweet on Sydney menu at Baskin Robbins, as if I needed another reason to go. Let's watch this 1-minute clip here, just to start off your Friday. Think of it as a timeline cleanse. Here we go.
Hey now.
Is that Sydney Sweeney? Oh yeah, it is. She really loves our rainbow sherbet. She comes here all the time. Wait, seriously? Hey Sydney, your signature scoop is ready.
Thank you.
What? That's so cool. Yeah. It can be.
Summer's looking sweet at Baskin Robbins.
Try my new Sweet on Sydney menu. Available at Robbins nationwide for a limited time.
I'm gonna lick a Sweeney this weekend.
I mean, what's not to love? But she just seems to really making these brand deals.
Yeah. I like the choices in the brand deals. It's not things you'd expect from Sydney Sweeney.
The choices are amazing.
Yeah,
I think the products, simple thing. She's not taking on any controversial stands. She's not going after fans. She's just, hey, I know you like me. You probably also like ice cream. Here we go. Do you need soap? We all need soap. Also, this is my bathwater.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I really like what she's doing with all this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: what were the odds that those two actors were actually on set with Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah. Oh my God. Were they in the same shot?
No, they weren't. They had some clever behind over the shoulder shots, but yeah, my guess is they weren't there on set the same day.
Well, what's great about Sydney Sweeney, never goes after fans, doesn't really talk about any political opinions. I don't even know what her opinions are. And just, I'm an entertainer. I'm going to give you what you want. So there you go. It's very smart. Other actors might take advice from Sydney. Now, another side of the coin, Mark Hamill.
Oh no.
He has been controversial with his takes. He has gone after fans. He's gone after supporters of President Trump. He said before the election that they can go force themselves. That's a quote from him.
I remember
look, I am just telling you. But here he is on in a video clip from Culture Crave on X talking about his headcanon for The Last Jedi, a very also controversial film here. Let's listen to what he has to say in this clip.
So I made up a much, much darker backstory that I thought could justify him being that way. What could make someone give up a devotion to what is basically a religious entity, to give up being a Jedi? Well, the love of a woman. So he falls in love with a woman. He gives up being a Jedi. They have a child together. At some point, the child, as a toddler, picks up an unattended lightsaber, pushes the button, and is killed instantly. The wife is so full of grief, she kills herself. I thought that would be, because I think about, I hear these horrible stories about these children that find unattended guns and so forth and wind up dead. And I thought that resonated with me so deeply that that could possibly, but he didn't have the time to tell a backstory like that. I'm guessing he just wanted a brief thing to explain it. And to me, it didn't justify it. That said, and I told him this, despite the fact that I disagree with your choices for Luke, I'm going to do everything within my power to make your screenplay work as best that I can.
Well, there you go. I think he just came up with something in his head that's better than what we got in The Last Jedi. I mean, it really is. How do you take the most optimistic, hero in the galaxy and have him throw it all away and leave his friends behind?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we needed more backstory to really explain why Luke was this way. So what do you think of that? And that's, what, it's nice to see him get thoughtful about that. I think, I will say this, of the sequel trilogy, The Last Jedi is probably the most watchable of them. It has and that's, it's not saying much. I'm just saying, I think Rise of Skywalker is the worst Star Wars movie ever made, period. Without a doubt. But, the whole sequel trilogy in my mind is a failure. And The Last Jedi is the best of them. That's not, I'm just saying it's the best, but
it's the best of the worst.
What can you say? I mean, and at the time I started out, well, this is going to pay off. It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere. In the third movie, they'll stick the landing. There is a plan behind why they're doing these horrible things that will pay off in the 9th and final film. And well, that didn't happen, but
I mean, I'll tell you the potential I saw in The Last Jedi. It was the final moments where the the rebellion or whatever is down to 30 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how are 30 people going to take on the new order and or whatever they call it? And that to me, that was like, okay, this at least sets up something that could be really interesting and exciting in that third movie. And as you say, they never paid off. They ignored it and they just went on their own direction as if The Last Jedi had never existed, which just goes to the overall problem with the sequels is there's no vision. And
Well,
they were just
maybe
together
if you're gonna make 3 movies that tell a story that connects, maybe plan them out in advance. Not every detail, but at least the story arcs and the character arcs. And the main thing I think that makes the sequel trilogy just unwatchable, as compared to the prequels, I will revisit. And there's really great sequences, great lines, great moments. I mean, filled with a lot of bad stuff that doesn't work, but I think the biggest problem with the sequel trilogy is the legacy characters. Han, Luke, and Leia never reunited in a scene, and did not have and one, but each movie dispensed with one legacy character, and it was not satisfying. It was not. You can do those same things, but have it be. I think the best example of that is what Terry Matalas did with Picard season 3 in terms of the use of legacy characters and introducing new characters and world building and payoffs. And God, I wish Terry Matalas had been put in charge of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I know
at minimum there should have been a meeting.
Right.
Everyone got together and said, here's the path of the sequels. It's going to start here. It's going to end there. And this is the break in between movies. And so you, Rian Johnson, now that you clearly know what we expect from the second movie, write that. But instead, clearly it was, okay, we need to reintroduce all the characters of the first movie. We'll let Ryan do what he wants to do, and then we'll ignore that and do what we want to do. And that, it was doomed from the start. And the sad thing is you had a built-in fan base.
Right.
The fact that The Force Awakens made as much money as it did was solely because there was a built-in fan base that wanted anything Star Wars. And we came out and we even gave it the benefit of the doubt when it first came out the opening weekend.
Yeah.
And they just squandered it.
Yeah, I think, there was a lot of goodwill with that movie, the first movie, The Force Awakens. I mean, I didn't like it. I did not like it at the time. And I was kind of the only person among my friends. And I think looking back, people are like, it just is, as compared to the sequels, like, well, we got what we wanted. We got TIE fighters and the Falcon and, characters we love, but not used in the right way. So ultimately a failure in the end, but it's nice to see Mark Hamill reflect and come up with, in his head, a better story than what we got.
Yeah, which explains the First Order's lightsaber control laws.
Well, if there's a safety on a lightsaber, you would think an elegant weapon from a more civilized time would have a safety on there.
And you would think a Jedi would handle it with better care than just leaving it laying around for a baby to pick up.
Yeah. Luke's son or daughter, the baby, the son of Skywalker, the progeny would pick up a lightsaber and then accidentally kill themselves, and then the mother kill herself out of grief. I don't know. It sounds kind of lame, but it's better than what we got.
The way I picture it is young Skywalker grabs a lightsaber, goes to his friends and say, hey, look what I can make grow.
Let's go to comments.
Jeff N for 4836. What are the numbers? For 999. Hey, Chris, I hope your mom recovers soon and that your family feels the love from all of us.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. This is from the official Tyler Disney account for 5. They filmed that commercial for Baskin Robbins down the street from my place.
Why aren't you there getting ice cream now, Tyler?
And let me guess, you saw the 2 actors and not Sydney Sweeney.
Good to see you, Tyler.
Press M to start 90. Hey, yeah, did you see a movie recently, Tyler? Press M to start 90 for 2. Hope all is well with Mama Gore.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Let's see. Garth Knight returns. Alan bought it. The soap, the water, and the impending ice cream.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a great weekend. Garth Knight returns. I'm convinced that Mark is suffering from slow-moving onset dementia. Someone should ask him if he smells almonds.
I love almonds. I don't smell them.
Okay. Patrick Lemire, 9278. Why with the numbers, Patrick? I'm surprised he didn't blame Trump.
Yeah.
MK Solid 82. What happened to the new Jedi Order and everything being great? LOL.
Yeah.
Make the Jedi great again. Olo Li Ukui. I'm just watching Alan's face with Mark on mute.
Makes sense.
It's like he says something brilliant and then he gets into gun control. And then he
I know. It's just like, oh God. It just not everything has to be a message.
I know.
Hey, a new clip from Superman was released. Let's see if this is better than the other clip that we got.
I've chosen not to watch this clip, so I will be seeing this.
Well, we're gonna watch this. I'm sorry. It's 30 seconds.
You're sorry.
Go. Here we go, Alan. You're watching.
Okay. That's Henry Cavill, right?
Lex, I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog.
The dog, loser! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog and cape.
What did you say?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be...
Ugly dog in a cape. That's what he says under his breath. And Superman does have super hearing. I don't know why he wouldn't hear that. I don't know. I mean, in context, it probably works. I don't like these clips they're releasing. The two that we've seen haven't been great. I want to love Superman so bad. We need Superman to be a hit. I want theaters to survive. I want them to have a good summer.
Yeah. Every time you think it's going to be great, they keep pulling it back down.
I got to think that, I mean, everything we've seen leads me to believe this is more for kids and families, a palatable Superman, more for kids and families.
Yeah. And it can make a lot of money being just for kids and families.
Yeah, it can. It may not.
It can make $1 billion just being for kids and families.
Yes, Lilo and Stitch, not for me. That movie is it gonna hit $1 billion, Alan? Look at that. But I think even if it's just for kids and families and kind of satisfies comic book fans like myself, that's probably all it needs to do. But
I don't know. Let's say they did make the decision to make it for kids and families. You still have a massive fan base that would go see your movie, and that, I don't know. It seems odd that they would just say, okay, we think this movie will make a lot more money if we just gear it for kids. And I think what winds up happening is you're just going to disappoint a lot of people by going in that direction.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we saw the international trailer earlier this week, which I actually liked. That, of course, led to my controversial statement, which I knew would get clipped,
blowing a dog,
where Superman blows a dog and saves the dog. That's in the international trailer. That clip.
Yeah, but, I can attest. Getting blown saves a lot of people.
Come on, you can't do this to me. But it looks very comic booky, very, as opposed to the Snyder, not so dark. It's not dark in material. It's not dark in the look. It looks very comic booky from the color to the design, the sort of super wide angle that makes sometimes stuff look a little goofy. I do know that yesterday there was a screening for influencers, all under embargo. They literally all they could say.
Yeah,
was,
that'll keep it quiet.
Well, we haven't seen anything leak yet, or at least I have not. And I know a couple people that went, and it appears that they see it and they're under an embargo to not say anything. I think the date, if I'm correct, is the 7th. That's when they can talk. So
that's the day before we see it.
Right. So, and I don't know. Look, I have a ticket just like you. I have a ticket to see it on July 8th. I don't know if we'll get to see it in advance of that. Now, I'm not sure that there'll be
I don't think we will.
I don't think there'll be a screening for press. By the way, there is no press screening for Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah, because they already showed the movie to the public.
So that's it. I mean, I'm seeing it next Wednesday. We'll review it next week. It's very mixed to negative, is what I've seen so far. But people are. Yeah, I think the main beef people have with this clip is that Superman is kind of losing his cool. He's over the top angry, and I think that when you are that powerful of a being, and he could literally murder Lex Luthor with his laser eyes. He could just go like that with his finger, just go blink.
Yeah, and cave his head
and kill him. Do you need to get mad? Does that? Yeah, I think people are questioning that we've seen Superman, writhe in pain when they magnify the sun to power him up, or getting angry with Lois. In that it's a very emotional, not cool as a cucumber Superman. I think what people liked about Christopher Reeve's performance is he was self-assured, confident. He gets angry like a couple times in the original Superman.
Yeah.
But it's measured. The only time he loses it is when he discovers that Lois Lane has died while he's off saving the world. She dies, and then of course finds a way to bring her back by
he spins the earth in reverse.
Yes, which solves everything.
I know.
Anyway,
I mean, why can't we have that kind of superhero logic again?
I mean, I look, are we over scrutinizing this film? I'm concerned that's what we're doing now.
You know what it is though? It's because we have too much to scrutinize.
Well,
they're giving us way too many scenes. I was going to say that scene feels like a precursor to the scene where everyone's booing him and he gets a rock thrown at the back of his head. And then it just makes me believe that the biggest conflict up front is the fact that Lex Luthor kidnaps Krypto.
Well, to be fair, that is a big thing. Someone messes with your pet, your dog. I mean, the John Wick franchise exists because a dog was murdered. So,
but John Wick wasn't for kids and families. And
think of any of us that have pets.
Yeah.
How would you react if someone like took your pet and you knew who it was and or hurt your pet? You may kind of go there,
Right. But to your point is, the original Superman, we had very little. We had maybe one or two trailers, probably one trailer. Here we have so many scenes we've seen. We have so much of James Gunn talking about, how he wrote it and how he was inspired. We're just getting too much stuff. The Fantastic Four is the same thing. We're getting too much stuff. And so when you say we're over scrutinizing it, well, if they give us less stuff, then we wouldn't over scrutinize it, because it's getting to the point where we've probably seen a third of the movie already.
Well, no, I am told by someone who saw the film, we have barely scratched the surface of what's in the movie.
Sure
So
feels like they've stretched more
we
than that.
haven't seen a lot, is what I'm told. But we will see for ourselves on July 8th.
Yeah, but this marketing campaign for Superman, it is better than the Fantastic Four, the marketing, but it's still you need someone to take all this stuff and plan it ahead of time, rather than it just all feels haphazard. Everything feels haphazard, and it's not helping people want to see this movie.
Well, we'll see if in context, him being so angry, people are seeing. I do think we are over scrutinizing the film. And if we took the original 1978 Superman and applied the same scrutiny that this film has, I think we'd find plenty to critique in that film, and logic lapses and effects that are bad and whatever. But that movie was that was early days of superhero.
Well, that was let's be real, Superman was the first.
It was, yeah.
And so in terms of over scrutinizing, we had never seen anything like that before. Star Wars the same way. We had never seen anything like Star Wars before. Jaws, we had never seen anything like Jaws before. And so it's new, it's exciting. Yeah, it's bad special effects. Not as much money or effort put into it like these are now done. And there's something to be said about being first. I always say the best CG movie ever is Jurassic Park, which was the first CG movie. Really.
And nothing better has come since.
Yeah.
Let's go to comments.
Okay, JTPRX 7580. That's why you guys are putting numbers, because you're making me read these numbers. 7589. Chris should be upset that Lex stole the dog he blew. Yeah. Oh, now it comes together. I get it. Portland 182. Yeah, people are just throwing numbers so that I can't.
Blowing a dog.
Superman is John Wick. Maybe. MK Solid 82. Lex trashed the fortress and destroyed the robots and took the dog, so I understand Superman's rage.
See?
Gabe is PN. Gabe Spin 13. Not true. You're so exaggerating, Alan. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot more news, but Alan, I got to say, sometimes you become the news.
What?
Some of your opinions get very controversial, and it leads to some of your rants get a lot of attention. And here's an example right here. If you're listening to this, you really do yourself a favor. You need to watch this right now, because if you want to see someone enraged, here we go.
Pisses me off.
No, that was here you go.
So this is the guy who's replacing Jennifer Lee, which we went in depth with the D files. Everything he says here is exactly what I'd expect a politician to say. He's saying the things that we all want to hear, but backs nothing up. Of course he's going to say diversity is great, which is the first warning here is going back to they're not learning from their mistakes. Wow.
Well,
that's the most boring baby I've ever seen.
I almost spit my coffee out. Oh my God. That was adorable. I love that. I just had to show it.
Yeah, I hope Superman gets that mad when someone kidnaps me.
Hey, possibly some good news here. Denis Villeneuve is directing the next James Bond. They just started shooting part 3 of Dune, presumed to be Dune Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
But this news...
And his last Dune, by the way.
Yes. But here we go, Alan. You have notes from the story in Deadline. Denis Villeneuve is directing the next James Bond film. I think it's exciting.
Yes. MGM Studios has officially tapped Denis Villeneuve to direct the next installment of the James Bond franchise, marking a major creative shift as the studio gains full control over 007's future. Villeneuve has long been rumored for the role alongside high-profile names like Edward Berger, Edgar Wright, Jonathan Nolan, and Paul King. Ultimately, Amazon MGM chose Villeneuve for what will be the franchise's first film under the studio's new joint venture with longtime Bond producer Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, following Amazon's $8.5 billion acquisition of MGM in 2022. Let's see. In a statement, Villeneuve said, "Some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father. Ever since Dr. No with Sean Connery, I'm a diehard Bond fan. To me, he is sacred territory. I intend to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honor." Mike Hopkins, Prime Video head, and added, "We are honored that Denis has agreed to direct James Bond's next chapter. He is a cinematic master whose filmography speaks for itself. James Bond is in the hands of one of today's greatest filmmakers, and we cannot wait to get started on 007's next adventure."
Well, I, for one, am excited. We've seen what Denis Villeneuve has done with the material of Frank Herbert in the Dune films. He really, took a serious approach. I've loved him since Arrival. I like him working in genre. The Blade Runner movie was not great. I think more because of the script than anything else. I think that Harrison Ford was misused in Blade Runner 2049, but had some really good ideas. Good look. I think this is a good choice. I'm excited. I think it really comes down to the casting. Who will be Bond? And I think if they try to mess with, I think just don't mess with it. I'm sorry. James Bond is British. I think Idris Elba may have been a good choice years ago. I think he's too old. I think you go with a safe casting choice and let Denis cook. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, it'll be Zendaya.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Zendaya, but Zendaya could be.
I mean, this is the guy who did cast Zendaya as.
Look, if you're gonna cast a Bond girl, cast a woman who's hot. Bring back sexy Bond girls. Bring back brash, kind of sexist, cocky, a-hole Bond. I mean, he does have a license to kill. Let's see him use it and kill both in the bedroom and with adversaries. So, I'm being serious.
Yeah, I hope I talked to my cousin about this, but there's this. We hope there's a return to seduction.
Yes,
in James Bond.
In like a lot of movies, we've talked about the lack of romance in films, and how it needs to come back.
Granted, the James Bond movies maybe lean too much into romance. Maybe we didn't want the romance; we just wanted the seduction.
Yes, not so much the romance in James Bond. I mean, that became a part of the Mission Impossible films.
Yeah,
but I really just hope go safe. Don't try to make some political message. Just go safe with it. And to me, it's all about the casting now. But I like this choice of director.
Well, High Guy Reviewing gives us the natural choice.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal as Bond.
I know.
Totally makes sense.
I feel like he hasn't done enough.
Precisely. Let's do a couple more news stories, and then we'll get to your comments here. But Alan, you've heard Top Gun 3. We have an update. We'll be talking about F1 later in the show. But the director of F1, who also directed Top Gun Maverick, has an update. Joseph Kosinski, on his press tour for F1, has an update about Top Gun 3. Will we see Top Gun 3? Here it is from GQ magazine and author Jack King. Tell me, Alan.
Yes, and I'm going to order from Nature's Best chinchilla pills.
Well, I order vitamins. What can I say?
Yes, okay.
The ads popping up.
Joseph Kosinski confirmed that Top Gun 3 is in the works and that Tom Cruise's Maverick will remain central to the story. While Top Gun Maverick felt like a passing of a torch, Kaczynski said, yeah, there's still more story to tell for him. There's one last ride, so we're working on it now. Kaczynski described the new film as much better in scale and theme than its predecessor. It's really an existential crisis that Maverick has in this, and it's much bigger than himself. He even suggested that stakes will surpass those of Maverick. It would make Maverick feel small, I think, compared to what we're talking about. Aaron Kruger, who wrote Kaczynski's new film F1, is currently writing the script for Top Gun 3. Kaczynski stressed that they're taking their time to ensure the story earns its place. He says, like all things, it takes a while to work things out, and we'll only do it if we feel we've got a strong enough story. As for a potential Brad Pitt-Tom Cruise collaboration, Kaczynski joked, right now it'd be a cool trickle. Tom Cruise's Days of Thunder character. We find out that he and Sonny Hayes have a past. Who wouldn't pay to see those two go head-to-head on the track?
I mean, they're probably the two last movie stars. Leo DiCaprio, I would put in that category too. You know, I don't know. All of our stars are getting old. And I don't know if the new generation can take their place. I, for one, would love to see it. Fast track it now. Seriously, get this thing made.
No, get a good script. I think that was the whole point.
Well, get a good script too. Don't start shooting without a script, but come on. What's the holdup? Get going.
The script, that's the holdup. You want a good story.
I want a good story. Well, you know, rip them from the headlines. You know, take out some countries' nuclear capability.
That was Top Gun 2.
Yeah, well, you know, history repeats. Let's see it. Another story here, really encouraging news. Spider-Man returns to theaters. And I know you have notes for this. This is not new. Returning again to theaters. Okay.
The headline kind of speaks for itself too.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Spider-Man 2 in a theater last year. It wasn't even a Fathom event. It just was part of a re-release in theaters. So the trilogy is coming back. Here it is in Variety. Spider-Man Original Trilogy returning to theaters from Fathom Entertainment. Okay. Re-release includes 2.1 extended cut. Alan, are there more notes in this story?
Let me see. I mean, other than the fact that it's being released through Fathom Events, that there'll be a new 4K resolution presentation. Let me see. The event will mark the first ever theatrical release of the extended version of Spider-Man 2, entitled Spider-Man 2.1, which features additional and extended scenes that will be presented in 4K. Fathom Event CEO Ray Nutt emphasized the enduring impact of the trilogy. The success of Spider-Man in 2002 helped launch the modern era of superhero films. To this day, Tobey Maguire's take on Spider-Man resonates across generations. And then just goes into the other stuff Fathom Events is putting out this year.
Not only that, another thing that people forget, you know, having seen it recently in a theater with an audience that didn't see it in first run, the audience was young. And I was concerned. When I went to see the film, I'm like, oh my God, surrounded by a bunch of kids. They're going to misbehave. They're going to be on their phones. I'm going to have to suffer through this. They loved it. They snickered and laughed. And the thing I noticed, especially about Spider-Man 2, was it was romantic. It was innocent. It was, it contained religion. Aunt May goes to church and gives Peter advice. Like when I saw the Spider-Man trilogy, you know, in theaters last year, they just put them out one a week, and then it was supposed to be one day, and they kept it around in theaters. You know, it was sometimes odd showtimes, but I saw them all. And what struck me was they were patriotic, romantic, and religious. When do we ever see that? Almost never. So it was really surprising. And, you know, maybe modern filmmakers, you know what? Maybe that's just what people want. you know, solid core values in your movie, you know, whether you are a religious person or not. And I'm not particularly religious, but I appreciate sort of, I would describe myself as culturally Christian, right? Just believe in the values. I'm not going to church every week, right? But
yeah, the Christmas Easter Christian.
yeah, that's what I am. I have a Christmas tree every year. But you know what I mean? Like that's like there's something about it that's comforting, right? And then just the, you know, look, there are no sex scenes in Spider-Man, but there are sexy scenes, you know, Mary
There's
Jane,
the iconic kiss in the first
Mary
one.
Jane in the rain,
Yes.
the upside down kiss,
Macking out with upside down Tobey Maguire.
upside down Tobey Maguire. I mean, he really played this humble, lower middle class or lower class kid, you know, just trying to make a go, trying to like be good, you know. I think that's why I mean, he's my favorite Spider-Man / Peter Parker. I mean, he's just so good in that. He's so relatable, and he's a nerd that fails a lot, and the world's against him. And no matter how much good he does, somehow Spider-Man is still the enemy, and you know, he doesn't get his just due. It's just those movies are great. It's so funny how they've gotten even better and aged well with time. That doesn't happen with everything, but they've aged well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm going. Obviously, I'm going. You know, I see a lot of the Fathom events, but I'm really curious to see, as you know, modern movies more and more are just either we're getting a Toy Story 5 or a live action remake of a classic cartoon. I mean, you know, just culturally bankrupt. They've run out of, you know, original ideas that don't really take. And, you know, I'm here actually with my family, and I have 4 nieces. Okay. I have 4. Yes. My sister had four daughters, Drew, Ryan, Avery, and Yale. And they watch everyone but me online. They watch Drinker and Jeremy Johns. Thanks. You don't watch Film Thread? Okay, fine, Ryan. Fine. But they tell me, they're like, look, we don't like Star Wars. Nobody cares. No one our age, they're like Gen Z. No one cares about Star Wars. Marvel, they're over it. Because I don't think it's the story of the Marvel movies or anything. It's because Marvel has not introduced characters people care about. Even when we get to like Endgame, right? When all the way through this decade of Marvel movies that built up to one finale, you know, and connected to one finale, you may not agree, or you might have a lot people have a lot of quibbles about Endgame. Loved it at the time. The more you look at it, it's flawed, but you cared about the characters in that movie. And in phases 4, 5, and whatever, Marvel has not established new characters we care about. And the characters we do care about, they're gone.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is gone. Steve Rogers is gone. We don't care enough about these new characters for it to lead to something that we're going to care about. So Spider-Man trilogy coming back to theaters from Fathom events, it will make money. And I really want to see Fathom events. They told us at CinemaCon that their revenue like doubled in 2024, that old releases of older movies are now competitive at the box office. What are your thoughts, Alan? I know
you went on.
Sorry.
There are a couple things. Look, to your superhero comment, The Marvels was supposed to be the movie where young teens could feel seen. And you know, you talk to your nieces. I have a daughter who, and I asked her, what do her friends think about The Marvels? And without hesitation, they said that we saw the trailer and it sucked. You know, I mean, that's there's this notion that, you know, that Hollywood seems to be still leaning into, is that as long as you can represent people, they'll go see it. And the reality is, no, people want stories. And you know, me trying to get my daughter to see movies nowadays is very difficult because everything looks lame to her. You know, I keep every weekend it's like, do you want to see M3GAN? Do you want to see F1? Do you want to see, you want to try anything? And it's like, no, it all looks lame. And the only movies that I could get her to see are movies that are over 20 years old.
Wow.
And it's like, I was surprised she liked Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I mean, she's seeing movies that are older than her.
Yeah. Well, look, when Fathom Events last year did the Lord of the Rings, there were a lot of young people in that audience dressed as hobbits and as Gandalf. And they weren't born when Lord of the Rings came out. I mean, that's the impact. And this, if anything, this is, I don't know why Hollywood's not picking up on this, because you have young people who are more willing to see movies that are over 20 years old, that are older than them, than rather see the stuff that they're putting out now. That has to say something. We saw, I showed her the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. It'll be interesting. I don't think she was overwhelmed with it than I hoped she would be. I told her, well, wait till you see Spider-Man 2. And then I'm going to give Spider-Man 3 another chance. I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man 3.
Look, there's a lot to love in there. I love Bully Maguire.
Right, but Spider-Man 3 suffered from what X3 had, and there was too many villains or too many characters. And I thought it would be cool to see Venom finally show up, and it wasn't. And
Venom was lame in that movie.
I know. And then it was like, why is Topher Grace taking over this movie? And
right.
So we'll see. I'll give Spider-Man 3 another chance, but because I don't think I've seen it more than 2 times.
Let's go to comments.
Eternal Glory and Valhalla for 2. That Superman clip was awful. Oh no, I'm worried. Exactly. That's
I'm worried
stop
too.
Putting stuff out. Just play the trailer. Just do that. Play the foreign trailer. Helios ending for 5 Canadian. I'm an incel loser. I want to see zero romance or sex in movies. Hits too close to home. Activates FOMO. I wonder if anyone feels that way. It feels like that message is being driven into us. Akanika, member for 35 months. Toby is great at using his eyes while acting.
And thank you, Akanika, for 35 months. That's huge.
Helios ending for 2. Almost everything new feels manufactured in force. Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Patrick Lemire, 9278. What is the airspeed velocity of a brown dog?
Blowing a dog.
A blown dog, Alan.
Yeah. So is the dog grabbing it by the husk or by the paws?
I don't know.
Bush and Radio Cat. Top Gun 3 can be like Rocky 4, a fighter pilot's story to end world's conflict in the Middle East. It's sad that we're wrapping up Tom Cruise stories.
Yeah.
The Nerd Far Away. I'd show up for a re-release before I show up for another blasted remake.
Yeah.
Hi Guy reviewing. Tom Gun 3, the B-2 Stealth Bomber Chronicles. Cavateño Cavalry Manche. Today is Tobey Maguire's 50th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Tobey Maguire. Thanks for watching.
Tony Elias 2561. Tobey Maguire will forever be the best live action Spider-Man of all time. Yeah.
I agree. Haven't seen anyone since do better.
I became Death Destroyer of Worlds. Top Gun 3 Maverick gonna be bunker busting his way into our hearts. Yeah, it's gonna take 2 missiles to get us into our hearts. Lond Ho, make Bond girls sexy again.
Yeah, we need to see that more often. Well,
they've been sexy. They just not been making out much.
Yeah, well, what can you say? And
yeah.
I
mean, Ava Green. I think that was the last time.
Yeah.
Garth Knight returns. Sydney Sweeney will play Honey Milker in the next Bond. Honey Milker.
Honey Milker. That's. I don't know if I don't know.
What was Denise Richards' character? Wasn't it like Christmas? I want to say January Jones, but that's an actual person.
Yeah,
Do you
well,
remember?
we have
Okay.
something that relates. Let's look at Alan.
Alan is my true daddy. So where the hell is Alan? Alan, rescue me.
We got to watch that again. I don't think we got the full thing.
Hey guys, as you know, I love Phil Threat. Nobody gets me hot like Alan. Chris DM'd me like 50 times and was super creepy. Seriously, he was like so aggressive.
What?
Alan is my true daddy. So where the hell is Alan? Alan, rescue me.
Well, there you go. You've got a call for help
I
from
know.
Sydney Sweeney.
Not sure my wife will go for it, but by the way, it was Christmas Jones. That's what the chat is saying. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mega, it's not that far off from January Jones. Mega YouTube 99 for 499. Highly recommended the new Sony animation movie K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix. Best animated film of the year so far. Don't judge it off its title. I think my kid
By the
is
way,
watching.
I have heard that from other people. I've heard people are going crazy for that movie.
Yeah.
We should review it next week.
My daughter's been watching it, I believe.
Yeah. You put that on the schedule. We'll put it on the schedule. Let's do that.
Okay.
I keep hearing it's amazing that kids are watching it. Oh, this is a part two.
And part two, it has Spider-Verse animation, great music, and a compelling story with action, romance, and great characters. Alan, I think you loved it. You had me at K-pop.
Well, mainly because Alan is Asian, so that's probably why the K-pop thing.
Well, I'm not Korean, but there's no C-pop, believe me. Brock Samsonite. Alan looks like that baby that tries to sell me car insurance while he drinks coffee and answers his morning emails. You know how that kid likes his coffee? Black. So this is the guy who's replacing Jennifer Lee, which we
can't have baby Alan do the news. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So, hey, it's really time for us to review movies. We had some movies open this weekend in theaters, and I think someone wants us to review
We
them.
deliver everything except good movie reviews. We leave that to Chris Gore and Alan Ain from the very popular Film Threat.
So let's get into it. Let's talk a movie that you and I have both seen, Alan, M3GAN 2.0 or M3GAN 2.0. M3GAN 2.0, of course, is the sequel to M3GAN, which was a really fun horror film. And that movie is a lot of fun, but it's also pure horror. I mean, kids are murdered by this murderous AI doll that becomes the protector of a child and goes to great lengths. It ends up being this child's friend who lost her family, Katie, in the film. Allison Williams is like her Gemma's like her adoptive mom.
Her aunt.
Her aunt who made M3GAN. And that first movie is a solid horror film. The second movie is vastly different in tone. It's more of a action thriller comedy that borrows from the plot of T2. M3GAN returns in a new form. She's taller, as is Katie, by the way. She's a growing girl. And M3GAN is now pitted against a new AI killer robot named Amelia. And it leads to some comical action sequences. I mean, it's the plot to this thing is very simple, but overly convoluted, unnecessarily, I think. But what I do like in the opening of the movie, the first few minutes of the film, is this complete rant. It's a whole, like, Allison Williams' character Gemma's now become this advocate, this anti-AI, anti-technology for kids advocate now.
Anti-cell phone,
anti-cell phone. Kids should not have that. I'm thinking, like, I like the way this movie's starting because that's actually a message, I think. And by the way, I'm in a theater watching this movie with people on their freaking cell phones. Okay, set that aside for a second. But I will say you cannot take this one. The first M3GAN you could take seriously. You could believe it. It's somewhat believable. And they did pull back. The first M3GAN, I know for a fact, that was originally an R-rated version. One of the characters was beheaded, and so the deaths were more gruesome, but it leaned into that sort of comical aspect, the dances that M3GAN does. This movie is just an over-the-top version of the last, and it sets the horror aspects aside. Although there are a couple of good gruesome moments, but they're not over the top. The movie is PG-13. Alan, what did you think of M3GAN 2.0?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really on the fence on this one. I for a guy who doesn't like horror, I kind of wish this was a horror film and not. This is just a sci-fi robot film, and my thoughts about robots now. It's the question of whether we should sympathize with a robot because they're cute. I went through this whole rant about AI and Ironheart, and it just feels like that Hollywood is taking us in this direction where they're trying to lull us into this idea that robots are good and robots will protect us, especially the cute ones and the hot ones. And it's just weird how this seems to be the message that is being foisted upon us by Hollywood. But set that aside. I was a bit disappointed because I liked the first one. Not weirdly enough, but it was written and created by a Black woman, and no one ever talks about that someone can make a good series who fits all the diversity boxes. And I was just saying,
it's good on them for not using that.
Yeah, and I was saying that the writer of the first M3GAN would have been great if they had let her write She-Hulk, because I think she would have gotten that right, and there would have been a much darker tone to it that I think we all wanted. But in this case, they just went in a completely different direction. And other than the fact that it's using a character we're familiar with in the first M3GAN movie, it goes on a tone of basically killer robot movie, done in a fun kid way. A lot of the kills are off screen. A lot of kills are not as gory or gruesome as they were in the first. The suspense, there's not a lot of suspense in it. So it's very much a watered down version of the first movie. And I don't know. Maybe I think I'm just going to say I wouldn't recommend M3GAN 2.0.
I give it a bare recommend because I can't deny I had fun. And the new Amelia character, I really like. I like this whole. I did get convoluted at the end with M3GAN, like sort of being. Is it M3GAN in the internet? Is M3GAN like in the brain of? And I will say this also gets credit for Allison Williams is so good in this, in the sense that she takes everything deadly serious.
Yeah,
she is like, this is a goofy, weird, over-the-top script, but I'm gonna just act the shit out of it. She is so serious. And Allison Williams from the whole series, which I caught a few episodes.
I'm not going to spoil it, but there's that heart-to-heart moment she has with M3GAN that is just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's so dumb, but to make it work, she puts it deadly serious. She's not goofing on it. She's not dismissive. She takes it dead. And that's the way to make a thing like this work. Something that's so over the top and goofy and illogical and, crazy in terms of the events. But the audience I saw it with loved it. I can't deny I had a good time. It was dumb. I would probably even see it again as a whatever, just to because it is really fun. It really had the audience was into it. And I don't know.
I would see
look, not as good as the first movie, but I'll say I give it a bare recommend, because if you can just go with it, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely tell people go see the first one over this one.
Well, for sure.
If you never saw M3GAN 2.0, your world will be fine. The other thing is we've been seeing him a lot lately. The Aristotle Atani, he was in Molly and Max. He used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's pretty good in this one. I think he's still needs some more films under his credit to be a really good actor. But I think the thing I appreciate about this movie was the kind of the ending philosophy of why things were happening. I'll say I was into it, and then it got really convoluted at the end. But it was an interesting take on it, something you don't normally see in a robot movie, especially one like this. It's something interesting there. I just don't think they stuck the landing with it. But I think it's a good attempt, but ultimately it just falls short of the recommend for me.
Look, if you want to have a good time at the movies, if you want to check your brain, and it does have at its core a good message about kids, and that is a conflict throughout the film. This whole thing, this being an advocate for kids shouldn't use technology, and kids, and Jermaine, we didn't mention Jermaine Clement, he's in this movie as some tech guru.
Yeah, he's Elon, basically.
Yeah, he's basically Elon Musk. It is hilarious. It's so dumb. In one scene, he's trying to seduce Amelia, or Amelia's trying to seduce him, and he opens his chest, and he has like scars and a perfect like six pack, but it's all like enhanced with surgery.
Yeah, it was plastic surgery on his abs to make abs.
To make abs. It's so. I don't know. That was funny. So look, it kept me entertained, and the audience was into it. And the woman who plays Amelia, Ivana Sagno, is that her name?
No, but you were getting close to something great.
I did not say anything crazy. Sakhno. I don't know how to pronounce it.
All I heard was Ivana
Yeah, you say it. Anyway, she's really good as Amelia. They do this thing where she looks kind of uncanny valley, but she's a real person, but uncanny. Same thing with M3GAN. It looks her face is kind of weird. But anyways, I just had a good time. So it's a bare recommend. If you're not into it and you saw the first movie or didn't even see it, you're safe to pass. But I had a good time.
Yeah, the more you describe it, it's like
no thinking required for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, the more you describe it, it just feels like a kid's version of, or let's say a teen version of M3GAN, and it I'll say it really comes off that way.
Well, M3GAN is something of a phenomenon. The TikTok dances and all that, like it inspired all that. And then you'll see like at events, someone brought a full-size M3GAN doll to the screening, which was fun. There are people that dress up like.
Did he make out with her?
No, she was very short. I'm not gonna.
Right.
Anyways, but there are people dress up as M3GAN. I think if this does well, there'll be a M3GAN. There'll be a M3GAN 3.0. Let's go to comments here.
Trucker Mark 9410 for 10. In the category Best Disney Plus Marvel Reaction Video, the Daytime YouTube Emmy Award goes to Chris Gore.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I truly appreciate it.
Blowing a dog.
Thank you. Very generous.
I will not eat the bug says, when will they sell M3GAN AI dolls? Asking for personal reasons. Yes.
Oh, that's coming.
I don't think you will like what
you can get the full-size doll. There was a guy who had it there, and he told me he spent $1,000 on it.
I know.
It was a full-size replica.
Yeah. It'd just be easier to join Tinder. Sons and Shadows cast. T1, T2, Aliens. It's not unprecedented that the first horror, then horror action or sci-fi action or whatever shift happens. Yeah, but you got to do it right. I mean, T2 is a great example of that. Christopher Moonlight Productions. Sorry, let me. My daughter and I love the first M3GAN. I thought it was a really great story about kids and too much too soon. And we're going to see 3 for her birthday tomorrow. Not expecting much, but a nice day out.
Hey, you will have a good time. Chris, you will have a good time with your daughter. If she's old enough to see the first one, she will have fun with this.
I'll just say that there's no reason to be scared to see M3GAN 2.0 versus the first one. Stuff to watch 7682. M3GAN is a gay icon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah. Hey, let's we'll get the poster up there if you can do that. For that movie.
She's working on it.
Yeah, well, you know, we gotta like
saves a dog by blowing him. He's holding up the big kaiju.
By what?
Blowing a dog.
Okay.
Okay.
It's almost there. It's almost there.
Okay. All right. Just let me know.
Okay. I bet it's the you might have to remove it from the screen and then add it.
Nope, that's not
No,
it.
that's the wrong movie.
Okay.
Okay. Love
All right.
yeah. So this is the guy who's replacing Jennifer Lee, which we went in depth with the D files. You know, everything he says here is exactly what I'd expect a politician to say. You know, he's saying the things that we all want to hear, but backs nothing up. You know,
I like the I like the
baby is just talking off the top of his.
The baby version of you like takes a breath. So funny, dude.
Well, it sounds like the baby version of me is just thinking off the top of his head. And
hey, train wreck poop cruise is a documentary on Netflix. This is it's part of a series called Trainwreck. And if you're familiar with the Fire Festival debacle, which was a music festival billed as the best thing ever, that became the worst weekend ever. I love that documentary about Fire Festival on Netflix. Trainwreck is now a series, and Poop Cruise is about a Carnival cruise line. I mean, this, I don't know if you remember this news story from 2013 that was, it was all over CNN, all over headlines. People were obsessed with it. It went on for a week as a Carnival cruise traveling from, I believe it was from Texas to Mexico, lost power. And by losing power, they were unable to, the bathrooms, the toilets, which were electronic, they required electricity to function. People could not, let's just say that they couldn't go to the bathroom. So they were instructed to use the shower for number one. And number two, they were told to put that in a red bag, poop into a bag, and then dispose of the bag in the garbage. People ended up living in tents outside because the air conditioning didn't work. And this boat had to be tugged to shore. And it went on for days. There was media and press everywhere. And they talked to not only people that work for Carnival Cruise who were there when it happened, but also some of the passengers and how they suffered through it. It's both hilarious and disgusting. This series, it's only 1 hour. It just debuted, and I, for one, will be watching other episodes in this series. And actually, Squid Game Season 3 premieres today. I'm binging it. I'll be binging it this weekend. We'll review it next week. But I highly recommend this, if only for the laugh. The big thing that you learn in watching this is how horrible it was. The just everything about like the sanitation, the smell. They ended up giving the passengers tons of booze to pass the time. That didn't go well. Like everything went wrong that could go wrong. And I remember this story from more than a decade ago in 2013. This boat is still in service. They cleaned it up, fixed the electrical that caused the fire that made them lose power. And you can take a cruise on this boat now. Yeah, you can do that. So
yeah, there's special rooms you can have to kind of recreate this event.
Look, I've never been on a cruise. This doesn't convince me it's something I'd want to do. Fun documentary on Netflix. I'm glad it's not a series. A lot of the things on Netflix kind of turn me off. It's like, I don't want to watch 8 episodes of something. Just give me the doc. And this is great. 1 hour long, and I recommend it if you're looking for something new on Netflix.
Yeah.
So
This would make a great star-studded feature film.
I would like to see the remake of this with Ryan Gosling. Trainwreck Poop Cruise starring Ryan Gosling
And Amber Heard.
and Rebel Wilson. Let's go to comments.
Trucker Mark 9410 for 2. Sorry for your reaction to Ironheart. By the way, it's one word. It's not 2 words.
Yeah, and by the way, that got us in trouble, Alan.
Yes, I know. I saw that.
We had to pull one of our videos down because it had spoilers for episodes 4, 5, and 6. So we will repost it next week. But I received an angry email from the head of publicity at Disney Plus yesterday while I was on Drinker Show. And you know what happened?
What?
Someone complained about us. Did you see the letter?
No, I
posted it in our private.
I saw that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading what you.
Other YouTube channel was a tattletale, complained about us, and then Disney reached out. I don't know if we're going to get screeners now ever again.
Well, they asked you to do something. You did it. I can't imagine that's the reason.
Well,
you did what they asked you to do.
Well, thank you, Trucker, and we'll repost that video next Tuesday. Let's go with keep going with comments.
I'll say I just consider it a warning. I think
we'll go.
I think we're okay. Okay, Pookie Malibu for 5. Ironheart and Poop Cruise are total opposites of the term shit show.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for this? When I saw the Poop Cruise thing the other day, I seriously thought it was AI generated.
It's not.
Denis, all right. 21. Electric toilets are a really bad idea.
Yeah, I was like, who has an electronic toilet?
Well, it's like the electronic sinks that you go to and they don't work. And you're moving from sink to sink trying to find the one that does. Razorburn 35 could be worse. Could be the Titanic. Too soon.
It's too soon. What was that?
1980 24. The Poopsidon Adventure.
There you go. That'll be the movie version, the narrative feature.
The La Train, the 1A Train. For 5. 3-minute trailer for Project Hail Mary comes out on Monday.
Yes, I saw that. I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, I could probably talk about it on Versus on Monday.
Yeah, let's talk about our next movie. What could it be?
F1.
Awesome. Alan, tell me about F1.
Yes. Well, F1, as I get my notes up here. So F1 is the story of Sonny Hayes, played by Brad Pitt. He is a racer who it opens up where he's helping his team win the Daytona 24-hour race. He's a guy who used to be a great race car driver, and now he's just because of an accident, he's resigned himself to the background, and quietly he's just been going from race to race to race and just winning them. And so sets up, there's only one race he didn't win. It was the F1, the Formula One race, which caused his accident. And his buddy Javier Bardem, his former co-racer, comes back. He's a part of a.
He's Javier Bardem plays Ruben. Like a manager.
Thanks. But they used to race together, Formula One. Ruben is part of a team. Says we need a great racer because our rookie is not doing well. And he somehow convinces Sonny Hayes to join. And let's just say everyone has a lesson to learn when it comes. And hopefully if everyone in this movie can learn their lessons, they'll win the race in the end. Part of it also is a rookie racer, Joshua Pierce, who has some ego issues that have to be dealt with. And as I said, and there are other characters who need to be uplifted And if everything works together, they'll come out on top at the end.
And I mean, I don't want to get into too much of the story. I'll just say that the story is probably the weakest part of the movie. It's a very thin on story and plot. It's a sports movie. In sports movies have like two results. You either win or lose. That's it. And I love sports films. We could sit here and rattle off a list of great sports movies from, everything from
Bad News Bears.
I was going to say Bad News Bears. But just sports movies are great. Days of Thunder, you go on and on. You can go by sports category, all the Rocky films, boxing. But I love sports movies, and you win or you lose. And sometimes when you lose, you actually win something else. You win respect, or maybe you win the girl.
Rocky. Yeah,
exactly. But F1, okay, thin on story. So well written. The characters are so good in this. And even, put even that aside, for a second, the racing, you have to see this in IMAX, which I was fortunate to see it in IMAX. I will see it again in 4DX. I want to see this movie again in 4DX.
That's a good idea.
I want to feel the racing. So I just had a great time. And, just based on a couple other movies I saw that didn't really love, this is one of my favorite movies this year.
Okay,
now,
so let me ask you. So we were at CinemaCon, and when this movie came up, Jerry Bruckheimer and Joseph Kosinski come on stage, and the claim was that that F1 in their eyes, they wanted it to be this year's Top Gun Maverick. Do you think they did it?
I don't know. I have no idea. We sit here and try to guess how movies. Who could have predicted Minecraft would do so well? Which Minecraft, by the way, watched. Well, I didn't watch it. It was on in the background. Minecraft is on Max. Minecraft is on Max now. Just FYI. Who would have predicted that movie would do well? I have no idea. Even Top Gun Maverick, that movie doing well. Who thought that? Other movies that like Super Mario, right? Not pre-sales, walk up business with families. I don't know if F1 will do great or not. I really don't. I have no prediction, no knowledge of, box office. I know we'll talk about it Monday on Versus.
Yeah. But in terms of the feeling, the feeling you got walking away from Top Gun Maverick, did you get those feelings walking away from F1?
No, not as much. I didn't like it as much as Top Gun Maverick, but I will say as a racing movie, it's more about the experience. They really do put you in the cockpit. I mean, the way that they shot this, clearly using drones and cameras placed in cars, gave you the feeling of being in a race, which I would never do. I didn't look. I know that racing is very physically demanding. F1 in particular is physically demanding. So I really have a newfound appreciation for the sport and just love Brad Pitt. He's a star. I don't care what. And the guy that he is pitted up against, the actor, his name is
Joshua Pierce.
Yeah, Joshua Pierce. No,
Damson Idris.
Damson Idris. He's really good. He's really good. So, and of course, Javier Bardem is just solid in everything. So,
I mean, I'll say that Damson, he understood his character arc.
Yes. And they didn't, you know what I liked about it? Didn't make it about race. It was about rivals. Wasn't ever about race. A movie about racing, not about race.
Not race, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm glad. And so it's just a very solid movie, and I will see it again in a theater, 100%. So I strong recommend from me. One of my favorite movies I've seen this year.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of my favorites. I think when I walked away and thought about it, it incorporated elements of other movies I liked.
Yeah,
which means that this is not going to be as good as any of those movies. Even Gran Turismo, I think Ooh, it's going to be a tough race between Gran Turismo and this. Yeah, those are two really strong movies. So the first movie this reminds me of is Hoosiers. It's the idea of a guy who has been who's made mistakes in his life and is finally coming back to the sport that kicked him out, and that he has to atone for his sins of the past. That to me, that was generally the idea of the story. But it was done better in Hoosiers. The other one is Ford versus Ferrari. This is all about car racing. Somehow I liked the car aspect of it better in Ford versus Ferrari. And this one,
I agree with you. Ford versus Ferrari is better as a story. As a story, F1 has less story, thin on story, but better on spectacle. That's what F1 does better.
Yeah, but I think so the story overall, I liked. I do like the arc that Sonny Hayes and Joshua Pierce take, and then even the Javier Bardem character is good. Here's something I noticed though. So you have your pit crew, you have the people working behind the scenes. There are 4 major characters behind the scenes when it comes to how you do a F1 race and how you keep everyone safe and all that. What did 3 of the 4 characters have in common?
What?
They were women. And,
yeah, there were. Yeah.
In fact, there were only 3 women on the crew, and it was those 3 women. It's interesting
focus on them, and one makes a mistake. One makes a mistake,
but quickly overcomes.
I like those minor characters. They had their own character arcs woven in. It worked for me. A strong recommend for F1. One of my favorites this year. What about you?
Yeah, definitely a strong. The only reason I bring the women thing up, it's not that women aren't in this field, but they are the only 3, and they are the only ones the story focuses on in terms of, hey, if from the pit crew, we go to this person. Oh, from the behind the scenes, there's one that works kind of man in the chair, but there's 12 men in the chair, and the one they go to is the female one. And then, of course, the car engineer and designer.
Right.
To me, I don't know if it's because they're trying to, they're trying to uplift women in the field, or if they're trying to create some kind of a contrast to say, you're going to remember these characters as opposed to seeing 20 men in a movie. Because the man they focus on is old. And so, again, that sets himself apart from the rest of the crew, which is basically young white men.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry to make it political, but that's the thing that I'm just pointing out a trend that is happening in movies, and we'll see.
Where I feel like you have to have balance. It's like someone said, can we make this character a woman? And it doesn't, it actually, I think in some ways it enhances the movie, because there is a heterosexual romance, which we don't see in a lot of movies these days, which I liked. So, but in the end, we're both recommending it. So now you have to see it. Let's go to comments.
All right. Fun with collecting 97.96 member for 3 months. F1 was great from the start to finish. Well worth $20 IMAX, and I may see it again. Highly recommend it. I may try to drag my daughter to see this movie.
Yeah.
Nick Gore, 69.69. Wow. For 2. F1, finally a movie worthy of the $20 to try out D-Box.
Yes.
The Skeleton King for 2. Dodgeball is the best sports movie. Yes,
Dodgeball is a great sports movie.
I don't know. Bad News Bears.
Bad News Bears is my favorite. One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, the first one.
Yes.
Wild Man Beyond 999. I heard about the possible Days of Thunder's F1 crossover. Yes, we covered that.
Yeah.
That would be cool, I believe, is the feeling.
That would be really cool.
Sensei 72. Were any of the drivers Asian, and if so, how many crashes did they cause? That reminds me of I realize F1 is very much like me playing a car racing video game. We have all the accidents occur the same way when I'm playing that game. Our own Charmin. There are a lot of F1 fans in Europe and the UK. The theaters were almost full both times. I saw it in IMAX. I'm sure it will do very well internationally. I wonder if it will be a $1 billion movie. There's definitely potential for that. ADL's 24. What is the better sports film? The one with Pitt in the pit or the one with Pitt making money with balls?
I like Moneyball.
Yeah, I do.
I
do
like both of them. I like Moneyball is a really good sports film also.
Yeah. There's not a lot of sports in Moneyball, though. Sir Dirty Dog, F1 is the only thing I'm interested in watching this summer. So you, okay. Harris is 62. I bet this film will be more enjoyable than Superman and F4. Yes, F1 will be better than F4.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. Hey, we talk about indie films a lot on this channel, and we talk to indie filmmakers. And director Nick Verdi has a film that's coming out called Sweet Relief, and we should talk to him about it. I love talking to indie filmmakers. Alan, you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the Film Threat interview. Hey, Nick, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. Let me feature you front and center here. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great. Thank you for being here. Tell us about your movie.
So, God, Sweet Relief is a, low budget would be an exaggeration. It's a no budget movie that is, it's, calling itself a horror movie, or everyone's attaching the mumblecore or mumblegore thing to it, or art house, this or that, but it's a movie that sets itself up at least to be about this online murder challenge, sort of in the vein of these I don't know if you're aware of like the blue whale challenge thing that happened, or the Momo challenge, these things that parents got freaked out about their kids like killing themselves
I don't
or
know
each
about
other.
this.
I don't know about it, but I am very familiar with mumblecore. I didn't know it was mumblegore. I mean, mumblecore being like a genre of indie film where people it feels like they're, improvising, kind of catch what they're saying. I love those movies. I mean, you don't see many of them, but I didn't hear about mumblegore or this challenge. Tell us about it. And I want to watch your trailer for your movie. I want to show it to our audience.
Okay.
React to it.
Yeah, the mumblecore thing is interesting. It's I always think if I was making movies like at 2008, 2009, that would have been great, because that's when everybody was, you could have, bad sound and no money for your movie, and they were actually being shown at South by Southwest a lot and things like that, And it's funny, it's the first time I actually had a sound person, my friend Jack, and this is the movie that's getting called Mumblecore. But I think the sound's very good compared to other things that I've done, But Mumblegore, I don't know. I think it's just people talk about the that Duplass brothers movie Baghead a lot. It's a Mumblegore reference.
I love Baghead.
Yeah. So
and Creep is another good.
The Creep movies, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole Mumblegore, it's like very, very, very no budget horror film, which some people, said maybe a derogatory term for some people as they come to it, but I think it fits pretty well what we've got here. But yeah, and these murder challenges, it's sort of based on these, sort of the panic that happens when a community, a group of parents, catches wind of something that is going to, make their kids turn evil, basically, and sort of what happens when you get this psychic, sense of and fear of evil coming to get us from the outside, when and that sort of distracts you from the evil that is next door or already present that people aren't noticing. And so that's sort of, an abstract way to, contextualize the movie and what it's about and everything, I would say.
Let's take a look at the trailer and then we'll talk about it after.
You don't have a choice. It's too late to be saying this type of shit. Hey.
Draw the shades on endless grief and take us to our beds beneath, asleep forever, waking never. Angel, grant us sweet relief. Oh, draw the shades on endless grief and take us to our beds beneath, and take us to our beds beneath, and take us to our beds beneath, and take us forever, sweet forever, angel, grant us
sweet relief.
Okay, now that is creepy. Tell us, how did you pull the project together?
So I had right we had shot a movie, me and my crew of two, basically, my friend Joey, who I've known since we were 5 years old, and didn't have a sound person yet. We had some people stand in for the sound, but during COVID, we shot this movie called Caucasoid. That was we shot it in 6 days over 2 months, like every other Saturday, every other weekend. We got together for one day, and it's a very slim, no budget, rough around the edges movie, but it was like very like satisfying to shoot an 87-minute movie in 6 days. So that I was trying to get my friend Jack on the next one to do sound, and I was like, if we could do this in 6 days straight, it would be much easier because Jack doesn't have to come to and from Massachusetts and New York, to make the movie. If we make it one trip, like a normal film, but 6 days was 6 days in a row. I hadn't like actually shot a movie in a block of time before. It was always piecemeal over time. So it was my first time trying to do that. So a lot of that, I always really, really, really value limitations and how much that is, having no money, no resources, it sort of makes a lot of choices for you. And then I think the creativity for me really comes to life when I'm limited. The sandbox is given, and then I can kind of really, really, really come to life in that sandbox, as opposed to, I don't know what I would do if I had all the, means that I could imagine. You know what I mean? If I had the money hose, as like Robert Rodriguez used to say, you can spray it with the money hose and you don't have to be creative,
Right.
So it was sort of like, that was the first thing, making a shooting movie in 6 days. And I'd wanted to do a film that was not dealing with one character, which the previous film, Caucasoid, was just all mostly with one character, who was me acting in the movie. So I wanted to be, stay behind the camera for the most part and sort of deal with different storylines, different characters. And it sort of does that thing where there's a few different storylines through the film that meet at the end, and, ways you might expect or not expect, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we had, instead of having a full completed script, I sort of worked over just almost like starting with the possibilities of, the 6 day shooting structure. I'm like, if we shot 2 or 3 pieces a day, 2 during the day, 1 at night, 1 during the day, 2 at night, just thinking about it that way. I was like, all right, so we got 12 segments, 12 scenes, 12 sequences, 12 groupings of shooting to spread over 6 days. And I sort of structured what the movie would be from that. So it was like shooting a series of short films in that way, where the other plus of not having, the movie all about one person is you don't need one person for 6 days straight. So no one has to take off work to get paid little to nothing or nothing, as most people, it was mostly friends and people that were willing to do this for nothing. The budget was just about $2,000, which I saved from landscaping over the summer, which was mostly used to feed everybody and rent.
Wow.
We got a discount on lights, so $600 for these 2 LED tube lights, that everyone's using now. And yeah, what's funny too is I was working for Adam and Elisa, who are 2 of the stars of the movie. They have a landscaping business, so it was like these 2 actors, their money from their business that they paid me for working for them ended up going into the movie they did not get paid to be in, which is very funny. But yeah, so because it was, instead of a movie not focused on one person, more a series of little groups of people, it was like 2 days we spent with these characters, 2 days with these characters, 2 days with these characters. We got Paul Lazar, who was in Silence of the Lambs and a lot of other Jonathan Demme movies, and then some Bong Joon-ho movies, just because he used to act with a friend, an old teacher of mine, Roy Fodry. They were part of the Booster Group in the 80s. And so Paul Lazar, our first day was shooting with Paul Lazar. He came out, and for one day we shot 2 scenes with him. And so yeah, it was very, very, very limited. We had very limited time, limited resources. But I think that the submission to that, being like, all right, it's going to be very, very limited. And because we just kind of ran with that is the only reason we kind of got anything out of it, because we weren't trying to, work outside of our means,
Can I ask you one quick question? But a lot of indie filmmakers shoot in the woods or the forest or the beach. What is the key to getting what you need when you're shooting in the forest?
Well, I mean, a lot of it. I love. I don't know if you know that Hong Sang-soo, that filmmaker. He's always talking about. He shoots like 3 movies a year. He's shooting like less and less money as he goes, and he always talks about he respects what is given. I kind of think about that too. When you've got no money and no resources, you have to sort of take what is given. And he always talks about how weather is the ultimate given. You know, you cannot change if it's raining or not raining. It's going to be what it's going to be. So that's the plus for me for being, you know, having no money, is that when you shoot outside, generally you can get away without having permits or permission. You know, if you do it not near a place where the cops are or somebody that owns property, you can do it. Whereas if you want to film inside, I mean, I've got a limited, mostly it's me. When I'm trying to film in a house or in a room, I'm thinking, where are the houses and rooms I've been in around here that I even can imagine, let alone, you know, ask someone to shoot in, because I can't guess from standing outside a house if that would be good to film inside it, you know? So when you can film things outside, you don't need permission, and all you have to deal with is just the forces of nature, you know, hoping that it doesn't rain on you or different things like that, or that it's not blisteringly hot. We shot this in August a couple years ago, so it was very, very hot for a lot of the days. But I don't know, there's so many elements that are so out of your hands that I think that's part of the allure of it to me, is that you almost have to just deal with it. You know, you since you don't have control, you got to just deal. And then what I love about that is you get this sense of it almost feels like you're making a documentary and taking pieces of documentary result. You know what I mean? Like things that you don't have control over, like more, especially if you let an actor loose into a public situation or something like that, you know, not like to mess with people, but just, you know what I mean? It's like you're sort of just capturing what ends up happening. And then you fold this, whatever you captured, into this sort of a fairy tale thing that you're creating that is not real. You know what I mean? Using all these accidental pieces of reality into your, you know, not real thing, right?
Hey, we've got over 1,500 people watching live, and we've got questions from our audience. Let's go through these real quick. Let's talk to our audience here. No budget. Tony Ilias 2561. No budget. I love that. Should popularize that term. And would Techniques one says, would Terrifier be considered mumble gore?
It's a good question. Do you think so?
I don't think so. I think that's way more planned. I think that mumblecore I associate with it's more fast and loose, exactly.
Improv based stuff a lot, right?
Yeah. Redall Len 5689. Nick, if the film was no budget, does that mean you didn't have craft services? Well, you answered.
Craft services might be a stretch of a term, but I certainly did a lot of stop and shop. I went to the grocery store a lot and got a lot of snacks and you know, beverages, and then was 3 times a day was running to get burritos or pizza or some other food that everyone signed on for, you know. So that was part of the thing. A lot of times I was the one, when we were all driving from one location to the next, I would go and pick up the food or the coffees or whatever else we needed, or one of the actors would do it if I had to go do something else. So everybody, there's no craft services person, but food was eaten and no one starved, thankfully. I'm not that cruel.
From Aid Ellis 24, you're wearing an Art Brut Films hat. What made their brand new company the right fit for your film? How was your experience with them getting the film released onto VOD?
So Art Brut Films is run by Elliot Gibson, who is a really, really great guy. He saw Sweet Relief at it might have been Another Hole in the Head Film Festival in San Francisco. He might have seen the digital version of it, but it has been great. It's my first experience with working with someone distributing, a producer distributor type, and he is just like very, very, very excited about everything filmmaking, everything independent and art and everything, you know, under that umbrella. He has just been so validating and encouraging to me, you know, and it's hard, you know, you hope. It's one of those things when you find that's what the cursed networking is, hopefully, you know, out there to get, you know, it's like meeting all these different people and crossing paths with people, just hoping that you click with somebody. You know, you got to find those special few people that you kind of want to know for a long time and work with for a long time. And Elliot is one of those people for me. He's like done so much to get the film out there. He loves the movie. It's like, it was funny when I first met him and he saw the movie, I was like, yeah, you love the movie, and he's like, I was like, all right, I'm not sure. It's not like, I didn't think anyone was trying to lie to me, because no one's gonna make money off of this movie. I didn't think, you know what I mean? So what would he be blowing smoke, for? But finally, after I chilled out a little bit, I'm just like, I think you're telling the truth. You really believe in the movie. You believe in helping independent, creatives. And yeah, he just had luck. He had a film premiere, Tribeca, which won an award. So he's doing really, really exciting stuff, and I'm excited to be working with him right now. He's done so much for me. I'm so thankful.
JTPRX 7589. I'm impressed you were able to use such a small budget. Have you thought about a GoFundMe page for donations?
I did do that for I've been editing the last film we did for a while now. We've done 3 stints of shooting. I did do a Kickstarter. I think I did a Kickstarter for this movie, which still did not. We got $5,000 from that, which was great. I mean, for me, that's still more than we shot for 10 days on $5,000. And what's funny is, I think $3,000 came from 3 people that each gave $1,000, and then the rest was a bunch of people giving $20 to $30 or something like that. So, but that was I definitely, I feel bad because a lot of the people I know, it was a lot of my friends that I know are as broke as me. So I still felt bad, but it's heartwarming. It's heartwarming.
How did you manage to get the legendary Paul Lazar to join the project? Says Tony Ilias 2561.
I know, it's wild. So my good friend Roy Faudry, who I've known for a while, who was he was teaching me online an online class about script writing at Holyoke Community College out there, which is wild. I don't know what he was doing that, but he's a theater guy. He's been a local theater guy out here in Western Mass since the 70s, and he's done a lot of work with the Wooster Group, where he met Willem Dafoe. He and Willem Dafoe and Paul Lazar did this play together called The Hairy Ape in the 90s. But I remember talking to Roy one time, and I was like, if I could just get like one known actor in a movie, that might, I don't know what that would do, And I was kind of saying that, being like, I know he knows Willem Dafoe, I wonder if that could ever happen. And then he's like, do you know Paul Lazar? And I'm like, that sounds familiar, but I don't know why. And I looked up Paul Lazar, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I do know Paul Lazar. And then he was like, they're super close friends. And Paul Lazar came out and met me, and he was like, all right, you're not too weird. Maybe I'll do this. And so he came out, he knew all of his lines, which I hoped he would, and I expected him to, but also wouldn't have been hurt if he didn't. He's doing this charity project, basically. He came out, the first day of shooting was with Paul Lazar, and he just was exquisitely good. Really, really added, he really ran with the improv thing. He probably added 2/3 of stuff to his monologue he's got in the movie, which is probably my favorite part of the film. But yeah, he was great. I think he was surprised by how quickly I was moving, because I'm so used to, getting, because I edit the films too. So as we're shooting, I'm kind of like editing in my head, and I'm like, all right, I think we're good to move on. And he was like, are you sure you want to move on already?
Was your shooting ratio like 3 takes? Like what?
Usually it was 3 takes. Sometimes, when we shot that bar scene, we had to leave so quick that we got 1 take until we had to get our ass out of there. We had to put things back and get out of there. But yeah, generally 3 takes for each side. If a conversation scene is what we would do. But he was fantastic. It was so great, and I still have to pinch myself that ever happened, and that man that was in Jonathan Demme movies and Bong Joon-ho movies is in my movie. It's insane.
Patrick Lemire says no budget films need a Go Feed Me, where you can send filmmakers Grubhub. And that's good. And then a final question here from JTPRX: where can we see your film?
So if you happen to be in Encino, California, the film opens today. It's going to play once a day for a week. I believe the showings are at 5:10 at the Lemley Theater at the Townhouse 5, Town Center 5, I believe it's called, in Encino, California. If you're not anywhere near there, it is streaming on Eventive, this VOD site, Eventive, for $15 a stream. And if you watch it and don't like it, you can go on the Letterboxd page and leave me a nasty review saying, why did you take my $15 for this movie? Or you can say something nice, anything. I just love seeing Letterboxd reviews happen. That's very cool to just know the movie's being seen and seeing any kind of response. This movie has been a sort of love it or hate it so far. Either people really, really click with it, or they really, really dislike it. But either way, I like a passionate response other than a non-response,
Great. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Please come back when you have your next film, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
having me.
congrats.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you both.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was
Make
great.
your movie. Make your
Yeah,
movie.
I mean, when you hear made a movie in 6 days, that really is like, for everyone else, no excuse. It can be done. I need to get going.
Okay.
I think what we'll do is the Dances with Films. We had originally planned to review some Dances with Films movies. Can we do that next week, Alan?
Yeah, we could do it probably Wednesday.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, but just for those of you, if you want to go to me, next to Slam Dance, one of the best independent film festivals, Dances with Films. It's going on this weekend at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. You know, I was talking to my daughter about this, but the reason independent films are great is because filmmakers are passionate about the final product, and they're not beholden to a studio to tell them what to do or make demands on their money.
Well, what are some of the highlights, just off the top of your head? Some of
the yeah. So the okay, so the movies I'm going to talk about just real quick. Homewrecker is about a woman who is trying to get her mother to break up with her stepfather, and so they're making a deep fake porno film with his face on it. That's a good one.
Great.
Yeah, Never Get Busted is a documentary about Barry Cooper, who made a DVD called Never Get Busted that shows you where to hide your weed so the police don't find it when they pull you over. It's an insane adventure. Apocalypse Love is a puppet horror film about a guy who wants to resurrect his old girlfriend when the aliens come to create zombies. And then Tributaries is playing on Sunday, and it's a story about mental health. This is probably the most dramatic of the movies you'll see, and it's a great film just about mental health. And yeah, you just have to see it. It's a fantastic drama.
Cool. So yeah, I have enjoyed Dances with Films in the past. It's been a really fun festival to go to, and like Slam Dance, the choices of the movies are very unique, and these are all not all no budget, but they're all very low budget indies and true indies, not studio made indie movies, not low budget studio movies. So there you go. That wraps it up for us. We will be back Monday with Versus. I may or may not be there. My plan is to be there, but I may not. But we'll be talking Ironheart, among others. Oh, yeah. Want to say thanks, Aryan 69 for 96 for 40. Truly wish Superman movie will make world hopeful. And thanks so much for our mods, Lord Thoth, MK Solid. Appreciate both of you, including Atomic Lori and Glenn Uccio, working hard behind the scenes. Really proud of our Ironheart video we dropped. I'm going to get a lav mic for the future. We'll probably use that in San Diego as well when we go to Comic-Con for that. And just appreciate all the kind words people have said. And, I hope to be back next week. And we'll be talking Jurassic World, Rebirth. We have a very special guest a week from today. I'm excited. I can announce director Fax Bear. I don't know if you've seen the documentary Hearts of Darkness about making Apocalypse Now. They're coming out with a new 4K release, and director Fax Bear will be here along with Zoetrope archivist James McCoskey.
Yeah,
I'll get it right when we do the interview, but
it's still a great pronunciation.
Yes. Well, look, we have a lot. There's a lot going on next week, so please join us. And thank you again for all your kind words. And thank you to Baby.
So this
Alan.
is the guy who's replacing Jennifer Lee, which we went in depth with the D files.
I can't get enough.
They could have played with the audio. I'm just saying, play with the audio, make it sound more like a baby.
I can't get enough of Baby Alan. And also a reminder that we have through the 4th of July, we have the America AF. Maybe we'll do it for all of July. Yeah. America AF collection here. We've got, if you look,
That's our
we
prize.
want all the money. We have a rainbow shirt. If you celebrate, we have a rainbow film threat shirt based on the Star Trek the Motion Picture shirt. Pick that up. I have one.
I was gonna say, and unlike Ironheart, there is yellow in the shirt. So
yes, there's yellow in the shirt. Our summer collection and America AF collection. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. And here's a very special message right here from a former president.
Ask not what can Film Threat do for me, but ask what can I buy from the Film Threat merch store.
What can I buy? You've often asked that, Alan.
yes.
You've often asked that. So there you go. Thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat. Just I love talking to you guys. So I get a nice break to talk to you and talk to my friend Alan. And just appreciate all of you. And we'll be back next week. And Alan, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, let's get out of here.